Hey, welcome to, oh, let me turn that one off. Sorry, I was just preparing everything. Welcome to my Wednesday stream. Today I'm going to be working on my brand new quilt pattern design. It's inspired by Loki. Of course, the last one that was inspired by Mega Man is being released soon. We're putting the finishing touches on him. He's getting ready to be ordered. Um, this one is going to be the next one. So this one's going to be released, is it June? In August. So this is the one that'll be ready for Gen Con. So super excited. Oh, speaking of Gen Con, I've got to show you on Friday. I've been working on the Catan board. So I'm excited about that. But I'll show you that on Friday. For today, it is the Loki inspired quilt, so you can see the picture of what it's going to look like when it's finished on the left hand side. And I spent the day cutting out all of the pieces, so I've got the pieces laid out here. I was just putting the finishing touches on doing all that, and I have not finished. So first step after I cut everything out is I lay it out in a way that it's easy for me to grab as I lay the pieces out. So I've got all of my background pieces here because I'm going to use them the most. And then the gold I'm going to use the next most, which is right here. Now the green I'm also going to use a lot of. Now I do have this space up here that I can use. So I'm going to lay some of the pieces out up here as well. So I've got those. I'm going to lay that there. Let's do that. You know what? I'm going to lay these here like this. Okay, that should be good. Alright, I should be able to reach them all. Once I've got all my pieces laid out, then I can start laying the rows out. In this case, for a new pattern, I'm only going to make one. Normally, whenever I do a bunch of, when I make quilts to sell at conventions or to display for the patterns, I make them two at a time. But for a brand new design, I want to make one because I want to make sure all of my pattern, all of my notes, everything that I think I need to make this are all correct. This is my test. The number one pet peeve that I have whenever I buy a pattern is I can tell that no one ever made it, that it wasn't tested. So I always want to make sure that I test my patterns before I put them out there. So this is the test. So I'm going to follow exactly my instructions that I have written. So let's get working. Got there. There. Now I do, if you haven't watched me lay out any of my pieced quilts before, oops, I lay them out two at a time. And the reason is because I want to pin them two at a time. So this just makes it easier. So I already have the two together that I pin. And it does two things. It has the pieces already together, ready to be pinned, but it also saves room on my cutting mat. Because I'm laying all the pieces out, I'm definitely going to run out of room eventually if I just have them straight out. So this way I don't run out of room. So in this case, I've got another piece that the seams have to line up, and I want to be able to nest those seams. So the blue is facing down, so the seam's pointing down. So the next one I want the seam to point up, and that means it's got to point towards the green. So my seam is pointing up. Okay, that's the first case that I've run into where I had to worry about the way my seams were pointing. I love this green. It's an awesome green. Alright, so it's towards the green, so we need to go towards the black for the next piece. So my seams nest. And then towards the black. Great, there we go. And now I like to pin each row as I go. That way it's just easier. So in this case, my seams are pointing to the right. So if you look at my patterns, I actually, when you lay out your rows, I tell you which way that the seams need to point in each row. And that's so that your seams can nest and they can line up so you have perfect points. So in this case, they are going to the right. So if they're going to the right, they're going this way. So this piece is going to flip over onto the top. And that's all I'm doing, is I'm flipping the right piece on top of the left piece and pinning it that way. And then whenever I go to sew it, it is already there. So I know after I've sewn this, if I iron it, I leave it just like this. I'm going to iron it, and I'm going to iron it this way, and then my seam's going to point in the way that I want it to go. It's just a faster, more efficient way to lay everything out. There we are. Okay. Row 2. Okay, to the background. What I'm doing here in my mind, this is a piece that has already been sewn together, so I want to make sure that I pick the piece that's pointing into the direction that this row is going to go for the seams. Okay, towards the black. Because this row, everything is pointing to the left for the seams. Yes. Okay, towards the black again. Towards the green. And then black. There it is. Now you notice how my solid color pieces, the ones that haven't been sewn to another piece yet, those, I've got some of them upside down. It's because as I cut it, I didn't bother fixing it and turning it over because I can do that now. So I just left it alone so that as I'm working on it, I just have to remember to flip this piece over because it's on the wrong side. So if you think that you may accidentally pin and sew the wrong side, make sure you do that whenever you cut it. For me, the nice thing about the marbles, because I use mostly Moda marbles now with my quilts, the nice things about the marbles is you can definitely tell the wrong side. And the wrong side is the side of the fabric that doesn't have the pattern or design. If you have any of my patterns, you know I explain all of the terminology and basic quilting stuff in the beginning of the patterns. Okay, row 3. Okay, this one is towards the gray, so this needs to go towards the black. Green. And gold. Black and green towards the black. Because my seams are pointing to the right this time, so I want to make sure the seam points towards the right. Now this is a horizontal piece, so I need to sew this first before I do anything else. So this is I'm gonna have a seam point down, So I want the next seam to go towards the gray for a gray and black piece. And black. Okay, 1, 2. This piece goes with this one. And after the black piece, I've got that. And then that. Black. Green. And black. Okay, and the seams are pointing to the right. So again, I take the right piece and put it over top of the left piece and pin it into place. Oh, now I forgot because I started pinning automatically. I have to sew this one first. So I'm going to flip that over. And I'm actually going to stop what I'm doing and sew this piece. Now, when I sew my pieces, I want to make sure that I chain them. So I do a constant chain. So instead of putting my scrap fabric back in, I'm just going to grab this first row right here. And while I'm doing it, I'm just going to sew the entire row. Oh yeah, I really like how that green looks against the gold. It's really cool. Okay, so the gold goes on top, and I'm doing my seams to the right. Row 4. Now I should have enough to do 6 rows, so that's what I will do. If I can, I always try to do an even number of rows because I'm gonna pin those rows together and sew them together. Okay, towards the black. Okay, so it's gonna go towards the background for that piece. Gray, gray, there it is. And gray, gold. Oh, there they are. Okay, towards the gray for the black and gray. Alright, now, in this case, the combined black and gray piece, I need to go towards the gray, although I only have 2 pieces that are towards the black. So I'm going to re-iron it. Okay, and then black. Green and black. Okay, and then I need to go towards the green. Okay, green. And then black. Okay, in this case, needs to go towards the left. So I'm going to pick the right piece, put it on top of the left piece, and then pin it in place. This one's a little off with pinning. There we are, that's centered down. Whenever you do your pinning, that's going to set you up for your sewing. So it's super important that everything is lined up correctly whenever you pin. Let me turn this one off, because I just noticed it was putting a glare right here, and I apologize about that. The daylight lamps are fantastic to see, and like I was talking about on Monday, they're really, really good to make my body think that I'm getting lots of sunlight, but they do not like to be filmed. They are so bright and so nice, it interferes with the cameras. Okay, so I've got that one. That's towards the background, so we need to go towards the skin with skin in black. There we go. Towards the skin. That's right. And then skin. Do the other one. Okay, that's towards the black. So we need to go towards the black. Up. And then down. Okay, and then black. Okay, gold and gray. It's right here. I need a gold. Gold and gray. Gray. Black. Oops. Black. Green and black. Okay, this is towards the black. Green. Did I miscount these things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many did I say I needed? 6. Did I only count 4? Or did I only cut 4? I must have. Let me make sure. Yeah, 6. Okay, let me cut 2 more. And where did I put my straight edge? Oh, there it is. Stay. Okay. And towards the background. Alright, in this case, I'm going to the right. Okay, and last but not least, row 6. Okay, so I need one of those. Those. Okay, and that's towards the background, so I need to go towards the skin color. Okay, black, gold and black, gold, gold and black. Now, if it doesn't make a difference which way the seam points, I actually look at my stacks and I try to figure out which one has the most on it, and that's the one that I take. Okay, last piece of gray, so I shouldn't have any more solid, well, no, any more grays that are combined with other ones. Come on. There we go. Black. Okay, towards the green. And then the background. Okay, it's to the left. Now I think I only have 2 horizontal pieces in this entire quilt. Whenever I do my initial patterns, I always go through and I circle those horizontals. If there's more than 3 of them, I try to see if we can redesign the pattern in order to bring that number down. Because the only reason I ever have horizontals in my patterns, it's the horizontal connecting pieces instead of just, you know, laying it out vertically, is if the design itself cannot get away from that. So we try to have our designs be as simple as possible. Loki had, I think, a couple of them. Loki also had 2 additional colors originally that we went back to the drawing board and redesigned. So we actually took down the number of colors, and we actually simplified this pattern. Because the way that it was originally would have been way too many steps, and it would have been too complicated in order to fit into a simple 8-page booklet. And that's what I always try to do, is fit all of my patterns within an 8-page booklet. Because the moment that I go beyond 8 pages, it's going to increase the cost. I don't like that. I want to keep my patterns at $12. Alright. So now I've got all of the rows pinned. I've got them laid out and pinned. Now I get to sew them. Whenever you're sewing pieces like this, I mentioned earlier I like to chain them. That is whenever you have one piece in there, and if you notice I'm holding on to this back here, I'm actually guiding the fabric and pulling it a little bit, so I'm not pushing the fabric at all. I'm just pulling it a little bit to guide it, and this helps the fabric go through the machine. And that is important because sometimes the fabric will get stuck, and the feed dogs will actually chew the fabric up a little bit. So it's important to have another piece of fabric to pull it through. So especially at the beginning, and if you are doing things you're not supposed to and sewing over your pins like I do, it's good to pull on the fabric when you're near those pins. And what that does is it prevents it getting caught on the pin and hopefully not having the needle hit the pin. Okay, there's that one. So like I said, I'm just pulling just a tad on this fabric here whenever it gets started, and when I'm over the pin. So I'll try to let go and squeeze to show you exactly when I'm pulling. Other than that, I'm not doing anything except with my left hand. I'm guiding it because I'm using a 1/4-inch piecing foot. Oops, I ran out of bobbin thread. So I'm using a 1/4-inch piecing foot, and what that does is it has a piece of metal right here. So as long as I'm sewing, if my fabric is just touching, so it's not going over it and it's not under it, it's just touching it, just kissing it a little bit, it actually gives me a perfect 1/4-inch seam. So what I'm doing with my left hand is I'm guiding the fabric as it's being pulled in, so it's just touching that 1/4-inch guide. Oh, okay, there is no way that XSH4D, yeah, lots of letters and numbers. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. I'll call you XS. I shorten a lot of people's names. And I'm just going to keep on going until I have everything, straighten it out, yep, until I have everything sewn. There we go. And then the next step is going to be to iron everything. Yeah, and that one, I don't know if you could see it on the camera, but that one was actually caught a little bit and it needed the little guidance. Now chaining not only helps pull and guide fabric through to make sure it doesn't get caught, but it also helps with the locking of the threads. So if you start sewing something at the very end, then the threads at that end are going to be opened a little bit. Chaining actually helps lock that in, so the threads come undone the threads are less likely to unravel and to come undone than if you just started it at the edge of the fabric. I can't speak today. I think I need some coffee. Mm. You know what? I'm going to move this over a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Now I have more space. For some reason, I'm like, why is this a little bit more difficult than it normally is? Because I normally place it in front and not on top of my extended table. Oh, I cannot wait. I got a new extended table from So Steady. I talked about it and actually showed a picture of it on Monday for the Quilt Market stream. I cannot wait for it to come. I asked them to send it to my Maryland address, which I will be back at in 2 weeks. So hopefully it's sitting there waiting for me. You know what? Let me move. There you go. His name was coming out of the box. Alright, and that's as far as I can go for right now. So next up, I'm ironing. So on this case, all I did was sew them. So you see they're the exact same order. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it down. When I lay it down, I'm going to actually show you here so you can see on my ironing board, I'm going to lay it like this. So I'm just going to lay each piece out, and then I'm going to iron them, and then I'm going to collect them in the opposite order. And what that is going to do is it's going to give me all of my pieces in the exact order that I need in order to pin them right together without laying them out. And I'll show you what I mean. So I laid these pieces out from right to left. Now my very first piece that's on the very bottom left row is on the left. So I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to collect these pieces from left to right. Now in this case, my seams are pointing to the right. So I put take and point the seams to the right, and I forgot to count how many pieces I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the one that wasn't sewn is 7. So I'm going to make sure I include that one. So I'm going to take my first one and set it aside. Now, the seams are pointing to the right, so I know if I just pick this up and pull the next piece down and lay it on top, that's being sewn in the correct way. Now, in this case, I have a seam here and a seam here, and the seams are pointing in opposite directions. So I'm actually making sure that it lines up, and I'm using my fingers to feel and making sure that it's perfectly lined up there, and I pin that first. And that's going to give me a perfect point. Oops. So same thing, making sure that I do that first. It's all lined up, and I pin it. I am a little obsessed with making sure that my points are perfect, and that's why I sew over my pins. It is a horrible, bad habit. You are not supposed to sew over your pins, because you not only destroy needles, but it could hurt your sewing machine. So my sewing machines go in the shop quite often. Okay, there are 6. In this case, the seams point to the left, so I take everything and put it to the left. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. Okay, now this one I'm ironing right now has 7 pieces, and there are none that you can see on there that I didn't sew in. So that tells me, after I finish ironing them and collect them, that that first piece is going to be pulled out and set aside. Now, does it make a difference which piece I pull? No. But I know me. I make a lot of mistakes. And the biggest mistake is when I'm not consistent with things. So, that first row, I pulled out the first piece. So that means, on this case, seams to the right. So that tells me, in this case, every single one for this pass, when it's an odd number, the first piece is going to the side. And by being more consistent, I will have less chances of making a mistake. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. Oh, and there's 7, so I gotta pull that one off. I saw the little thing that popped up when I signed in today that TwitchCon tickets are now on sale. So I guess I should decide if I'm going or not. And when I say if I'm going, if I should be a vendor and actually sell my patterns and okay, this one I'm going to slide over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me move this. Because I need my entire ironing board. The most pieces that I can comfortably fit without having to do 2 different passes of the iron is 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's no pieces on the board, and these go to the right. Making sure I did the one before correctly. Nice. I like to check my work now and then. I'm a little paranoid because I make a lot of mistakes. Especially with new patterns. Okay, now the last row has not been released yet, so you know what? I wonder if my big table would fit that I use for my other big machine. Just out of curiosity. If so, that'd be pretty cool. Nope, I didn't think so. Nope, doesn't fit. That's okay. It's just this is my piecing machine, so it's super inexpensive. It is not a machine I would recommend as a first one, just because of how finicky it is. But for me, it's fine, because I know how to play with it and make it work for me. But because it is an inexpensive machine, I can't do any different tables with it. I can only use the one that came with it. Now, I could use my other machine for piecing, but I've worn the feed dogs down on that one, and I don't feel like paying for new ones. And stuff like piecing, I don't want to put wear on my good, expensive machine. I'll put wear on the cheap ones. So if the cheap ones break, It's not a big deal. Alright, so this is the top one. So after I finish sewing it, I'm immediately going to iron it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's one on top, so that would be 8. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just wanted to recount just to make sure. And seams point to the left. Alright, now let's do the next pass. And get everything sewn. Why am I using my scissors? I should be using my Gypsy Quilter Buddy. That's the thing when I get new toys and new things, I forget to use them. Okay. Oops. Now remember that first piece I want to have on the bottom. So if I use the Gypsy Quilter, I have to cut them in reverse. So normally I cut it from the front, but I need to cut them from the back. And that way, when I take the pins out, they're in the right order. Pull it down a little bit. Hi, Nadia. Terrence is my husband, for those that don't watch on a regular basis. I assume she's working late with you? Oh, and Nadia's is my husband's work wife. Nadia, go ahead and hit him. Alright, if I've counted this right, I should be able to do this in 3 passes. So this is the second pass. That's one of the nice things, that whenever we design the quilts, I try to have as few little tiny pieces as possible, because that's going to be a lot more sewing and a lot more passes in the machine. You know, Mike, if you tell Nadia if she makes a Twitch character or a Twitch name for a login, and then she follows me, she can see her name in hearts. Just saying. I got hearts towards the beginning of the stream, and of course I missed it. I didn't see it until a few minutes after they followed me. That's okay. Oh, there we are. I'm at the end. So, time for ironing. Now, this one is a little different for the passes because what I'm doing is I am ironing them the same direction that they are. So in this case, it's to the right, to the right. Now, I'm just double checking to make sure my pieces are all correct. And they are. Great. Okay, let me show you actually how I was doing that. So in this case, you see how the seams are pointing down? So when I iron it like this, it'll automatically iron this way, so it's pointing in the same direction. So when I put it on the ironing board, if the seams are pointing down, I know that it's already correct and that I don't have to do anything. In the course of this one, you see how the seams are pointing up? This means I actually have to take them and flip them whenever I put it onto the ironing board, because I want my seams to be pointing down. So this one, I'm just laying it on the ironing board just like this. I don't have to flip anything. Okay, and this is to the left. And this one only has 3. So I will just pin all 3 of them right now. Okay, now in this one, remember I said I want my seams to point down, so I'm going to keep it in the same exact order. I'm just going to flip it like that, so the seams are pointing down. And then when I iron up, all the seams are pointing in the correct direction. And in this case, this is the third one, seams go to the right. And this goes on top. So let's make sure, I'm just double checking. Seams pointing to the left. Because I realized I forgot to double check this one. Yep, looks good. Okay. Okay, in this case they're already pointing down, so I can just lay them out just like that. Now all of these tips and tricks are things that I do, okay, seams to the left, in order to make it go faster for the piecing. So this is more efficient piecing. Just double checking to make sure. Yep, everything looks good. And then seams to the right. Now in this case, I'm going to have an odd number of pieces. I have 5. Now you notice how I made sure to incorporate the front ones, and I haven't had any leftovers until now. So for this row, I'm going to leave the last piece. So if for some reason this last row has an odd, nope, it's got an even number. It's 4. Okay, and it is to the left. And final pass. So this one is already pieced together for the last one, so I'm going to skip it and move on to this one. I know I keep saying I need to sew something to hold my pedal, and I still haven't done it. almost got ahead of myself. Yep, that was the last one. All right, so now I want to sew them two rows at a time, because I'm going to pin these two, and these two together. So this one, and they were facing the wrong direction, so I automatically flipped them so the seams were facing in the correct direction. Okay, seams to the right. Okay, and so I'm sewing these two together. So I want to free that last row, so I'll sew them together now. And remember, this was pinned on two different sides because it was 3 pieces. So I just pick it up and I flip it around. There we go. Okay, 1, 2, so this is row 3. And all looks good. Now I'll do an official check of it whenever I'm actually pinning the rows together. Because I always want to double check what I do. Because I sew pieces wrong all the time. Okay. This is to the right. I want to include that one. Okay, and last but not least, this goes to the left. And I always, the 3 pieces, I always like to put on top if the other one is a 2-piece, because again, when you're sewing it, it's easy, just flip it and move it. And I'm just gonna cut them now. I'm not gonna use my gypsy quilt, or what is it called? Oh, the cutting gizmo. I'm not going to use my cutting gizmo, just because it's easier just to do that, because I don't have to worry about it being in a certain order anymore, because these are the entire rows that are sewn. And I'm going to iron them and pin them as I go, because I don't want to mix anything up. Alright, now in this case, I'm taking a look at it, and I want to make sure that my seams are pointing down. And in the case of the 3, my seams, I'm going to make sure are pointing down, but in a way that, so if I were to iron this, it would only would only iron the one piece. Remember, I have 3 pieces here, so I actually want to move it so that I want to iron it like this. Because in this case, I have this seam and this seam to iron, so as I'm ironing up, I can actually just do one at a time. So I can do the bottom, I can do the top one, and then I can keep going and iron the bottom one. Man, okay, I need more coffee. My mouth is not working again. I think what happens a lot is my brain moves faster than my mouth. There we go. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to move my guide down to show me only the 2 rows that I'm pinning. So in this case, this is row number 1 and row number 2. Whoops, row number 1. Nope, I was wrong. This is row number 2. This is row number 1. There we go. Okay, so if you take a look at the picture, the complete bottom row where it actually has just the blue, that's the border that gets on added after. So I'm not doing that one yet. So the first one is that one right there. So you see the pixels of the blue right here, this blue here. Oops, you can't see that because of the camera angle, but that's okay. I'll move it up a little bit. There we go. So if you look at the right hand side, you see that little blue pixel there. You see a single blue pixel here. And then you see the wider pixel here with one going all the way up. And then this right here. So immediately that tells me that these are in the right places. So I'm just going to look at my pattern just to make sure every single piece is correct. There's nothing flipped. And I'm actually taking my finger on the pattern and on the pieces line by line. Because even though I am super anal about making sure that everything is done correctly as I do it, I still flip them every now and then somehow. So now, as I pin together the rows, I'm finding the seam. So in this case, this is a seam that needs to be nested. So I line it up, put the pin in, and then I go back through and find the other seams where it's just a single seam and pin those down. Always make sure that every single seam is pinned down, because whenever you're putting it through the sewing machine and actually sewing it, if you don't have a seam pinned down, even if it's a single seam, the sewing machine will pick it up and actually try to, it may fold it over, and it may not sew nicely. Now, does that make a difference as you're sewing it? No. But it makes a difference as you're quilting it. Because when you're quilting it, if everything's laying down all nicely, it'll be a lot easier to quilt. Now you notice how I'm moving this down, I'm rolling this. It's giving me a better handle on it, so I can actually work on a space right here. Because I have, let me see if I can, no, I can't move it. I have my, my rack right here, so it actually is easier for me to grab them, so I don't want to bump into my rack and move down. So this is where I want to do my piecing. So I just roll it and move the rows towards me. and it's a lot easier that way. Here we go. Okay, so first row. So I'm going to take this and hang it up. I know you can't see it in the, well, you can kind of see it a little bit. But so it's hanging on my drying rack. So that way it's easy for me to grab off of there. And of course, if you use a drying rack or anything else like that in order to put your rows, the way that I do it is I do them from the left-hand side. So I know that the first row is always the first one on the left. And why is that important? Because you don't want to mix your rows up. If you've done all this hard work making sure that your rows are put together the correct way, you don't want to sew the wrong row to the wrong row. That doesn't make sense. Wrong row to... whatever. Okay. And again, I'm picking it up and I'm looking at it to see where my seams are. Because I want all those seams to point down. So when I iron it, it automatically goes up. Okay, let me do the next two rows. Okay, this is the one that's on the bottom. And this is the one that's on the top to the left. And then if you look at the design, you can see the next two rows. So it is the... yeah, so if you look to the bottom right of the staff, where the staff kind of goes underneath of where the cape is, you can see that's right here. Okay, so let's do line by line, making sure everything is correct. Okay. There we go. Now in this case there's no seams here, but that's too big of a space to not have any pins. So I'm going to put a pin in the middle. Stupid nails. I love my nails, but I need them super thick because I'm accident prone, and it's hard to pick things up because of it, because they're so thick. So when I drop a pin, I struggle picking it up. Go. Alright, so rows 3 and 4 are done. So I'm going to take this and just set this next to the other one. Alright, now for the last two. I don't have any more rows because I'm on 5 and 6 in the machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first one that I've pinned, so rows 1 and 2, and pop that in the machine. Because remember, I want to do, my husband's home, I want to do a constant sewing. So I'm going to do constant chaining. So I want to avoid using my scrap fabric if I can. Hi, Marley. Is he home?
Marley!
Is he home? Marley came running down to tell me he's home. Really? Oh, he's such a good boy. Go get him. Go get him. It's okay. I'm not going to go upstairs. I'm streaming. I can't go upstairs. All right, go. Go on, Marley. Go see him.
Marley!
Say the word.
What?
You know what.
No.
What do you want to give them?
Nothing.
Marley, go. Go, Mike, I need him gone.
Why?
Because he's in my way.
Because what?
He's trying to jump at my lap as I'm sewing.
Alright. 2.
There he goes.
1.
He's giving them treats. There we go. All right. And again, I'm checking to see where my seams are pointing as I iron my rows. Okay. And this is rows 5 and 6, so let me move this up. This is going to be row 6, so pointing to the left. So this means it'll point to the right for row 5. Okay. Let me double check everything. Perfect. All right. Let me switch those. Okay, and rows 5 and 6. All right, now let me do the next 6, or the next, next 6 rows. So I'll move that right there. Okay. So now I'm back to laying all the pieces out again. black towards the black. Skin. Okay. Move that so I can access those better. Okay, skin and gold. Okay, and here's another horizontal piece. So there, another skin and gold towards the gold. Okay, a big gold. Now that's going to be that piece. So the next one, I've got to start to the next to it. Okay, black and gold. Towards the green. Okay, again, I've used up all of my towards the green for the black and green, so I've got to re-iron these because I need 2 black and green combined pieces towards the green. I have a strange cat. So, she apparently got so tired after eating her dinner, she couldn't move any farther than sleeping next to her food bowl. There's a big, huge cat tree just on the other side of her food bowl, but no, she couldn't be bothered to make it there. Okay, so 1, 2, a black and green. Let me do that one. Okay, that's towards the green, so I need to go towards the background. And there. Okay. Now, I almost forgot again. I've got a horizontal piece. Oh, you know what? I like to have my horizontal pieces going down, so I'm going to change this one. So instead of going towards the gold, I'm going to go towards the skin. That way, it'll nest. It'll line up. So, let me pin this piece, and I'm going to sew this piece first. Before I do anything else. Alright, move Marley. And of course he came right back down. Okay, that is the first one. And again, whenever you can sew on your quilt and not have to use a scrap fabric, then that's what you want to do. So in this case, I still have rows that need to be sewn, so I'm just going to grab the next set of rows. Now remember, I'm only pulling it and helping it whenever I'm reaching a pin. Other than that, I'm not pulling or pushing it at all. Okay. Alright, and it goes this way. Alright, so let me start pinning. Okay, so everything is to the right. I should be able to get through this, at least this set of rows, the next 6, before 8 o'clock. Okay, next. One towards the background. Uh-oh. I am out of those pieces. I'm going to have to re-iron some of those. Okay, skin and gold. A skin. Gold. I like to talk to myself whenever I'm doing pieces towards the black, so towards the gold with I don't have any of those pieces. Huh. And this is why I make my quilts before I say the pattern's done. Alright, apparently I missed that I have 1 gray with gold piece for the 3.5 inch size. So let me find the gray with the gold that I sewed. And cut a 3.5 inch piece. 1, 2, 3.5. Okay. Okay, and it's towards the black, so we need to go towards the gold. Here we go. Okay, and then towards the gray for gray and black. Black. Black and gold. Black. Move those down so I can reach them better. Okay, green. It looks like that's my last solid green piece. Black and green. Okay, that's towards the green, so we need to go towards the background. Blue. Blue. Here we go. Okay, and this row, everything is pointing to the left. Mike, can you turn that down, please? The stream he's watching just a little loud. Mike? Mike? Alright, I will be right right back. No, no. Of course, as I come down, the cat follows me. Yeah, as I'm coming back down the steps, the cat follows and goes, "Oh, hey, you're moving around. Can I come see you?" Alright, alright, where was it? Okay, we're going to the left. I got distracted. Alright, next row. Gold. Okay, towards the black, so I need to go towards the black. Luckily, I don't have to iron anything yet. Okay, that's towards the background, so I need to go towards the green. And, uh-oh. Here's another one. I need 2 more black and greens. So, anything important? No. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, how many did I say I needed? 10. Well, then I should have at least 1 more. That doesn't make sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But I still have 2 more to do. And I am out of pieces. Okay, I should have 2 here. 1, 2. Okay. Should have none here. Nope. And everything else lined up. Okay. Well, I gotta be missing them somewhere. Alright, so let me do this. Let me change that. Add it to another cut. And I need to get my black and green. Oh, hi, Persimmon. Thank you very much. Yeah, are you fascinated by my miscounts too? And I appreciate that, by the way. A lot of, and I understand the whole not chatting while you're watching. A lot of my quilts are meant for beginners, for the process. And I also, all the tips and tricks and things, even experienced quilters, it's a lot of the piecing and a lot of the perfect points and efficient quilting, things like that. Okay, so there. Alright, so now I think I'm good. Man, I hate that. Alright, so towards the green, towards the green. Yeah, and like I said towards the beginning of the stream, the reason why I do all of this, even though I have the pattern and everything together, is because I want to make sure my numbers are right. The number one pet peeve I have when I make a pattern is I want to make sure that there are no mistakes in what I am doing. So I am doing that now. Okay, so it's towards the black. There we go. Fantastic. Alright, towards the black. There. That's right. And towards the black for the background. Fantastic. I'm glad you're picking up some things and you're enjoying it. Okay, now, in this case, the arrow is to the right, so I'm pinning it so the seam is to the right. Yeah, no, and I find that whenever I vocalize my thought process, it's actually easier for me to follow what I need to do. Whenever I first started quilting, I didn't talk out loud. I didn't talk to myself. And I actually made a lot more mistakes than what I do now. And my husband likes to make fun of me because when I first started streaming and I'd have days where no one was watching me, he would say, well, you're talking and explaining. I was like, well, number one, I talk to myself anyways, and I talk everything out. So nothing's changed. And I'm doing exactly what I would do even if I wasn't streaming. Number two, all of my videos get uploaded to YouTube the next day, so then that way, they are always there in case anyone wants to go back and watch them. There, and to the right. You may notice I double check which way my seams point on numerous occasions. Okay, row 4. Okay, there, towards the black, gold, okay, towards the gold, background, towards the black, and skin. Come here. Gold and black is my last one, so hopefully that is the last one. And I didn't miscount that one. Black and gold. Okay. Yeah, no, that reminds me, I should get my seam ripper out and ready so I don't have to scramble for it when I need it. And that's why it's important to have a really, really, really good seam ripper. This is my favorite seam ripper. It is fantastic. Alright, got that right there for when I need it, because I will need it. Gold and... In fact, that's what that sign says behind me, and I have it right there so I can stare at it. It says, a person who doesn't make mistakes is unlikely to make anything. There we go. Okay, now, this row seams are pointing to the left. Fantastic. Yeah, I've got, and the layout that I have now is new since Monday. So whenever you look at the old videos, it's basically just the cameras and some of the info laying around. I also, I'm sure as you noticed, like to put my chat up in the actual screen. That way when I upload it to YouTube, because I talk to people a lot. I talk to everyone. I feel when I'm chatting with people, even if it's just talking out loud what I'm doing, it makes it go by a lot faster, and I work faster. So, if I'm actually talking to people in the chat, I want to make sure that if you're watching the YouTube, you can see what they're saying. So, you said you are knitting. Knitting badly? What are you knitting? I just realized you said knitting badly. That's funny. Alright, black. There we go. So this is row 5 of the next set. Gold. Black and gold. Gold. Black and gold. Hi, Marley. Are you coming down to see? I know, I don't have anything for you. Hi, Soleil. I know, I don't have anything for you either. I know, I love you very much, baby. Here, Soleil, you want to come up here? Up. You want to sit pretty for the camera? You're such a good girl. Do you want to go up too, Marley? No, you just want me to give you something. I know. I'm sewing. I don't have anything for you. All right, where was I? There. Okay, towards the black. Oh, that's cool. I have never tried knitting. Nicole, my business partner for conventions and craft hackers, oh, no, I do have one more, tried to teach me how to, and this one, it's got to go towards the skin, so I have to re-iron it. Tried to teach me how to crochet. I'm a very impatient person. I don't know how I picked up quilting as fast as I did. But she was trying to teach me how to crochet, and after 2 hours, I said, nope, done. Not for me. I can't do this. Because I couldn't get the tension right. I wasn't, tension was not very good. Oh yeah, no, dogs are very helpful with sewing. Right, Soleil? Where'd you go? Why'd you jump down? No, but I just could not get the tension right, and I'm like, I got very frustrated, and I said, I'm done. So, if crochet frustrated me, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to try knitting. Hi, Iron Bands Graham. I can't speak today. How are you doing? And I did make it home from Spring Market. Speaking of, I love that quilt that you just did with the thread painting. It is amazing. Okay, this one, the rows are going to the right. I said rows. The seams are going to the right. Marley, no. Marley, the kitty cat does not want to play with you. Come here. The kitty cat does not want to play with you, baby. I'm sorry. Don't bark at her. So the quilt that I am working on today is going to be my next pattern, and the next pattern after the one being released in 2 weeks. So this is going to be the pattern that I'm releasing in August. So I have it all written out. Marley, enough. So after I make it, and I know everything is good to go, I will pass on the instructions to Nicole, who will do all of the layout and prettying up of the pattern. A lot. I actually wrote oh, hey, I got another follow. Hi, Mustard Boy. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's, what Iron Bandsgram is referring to is, I'm trying to word this in a politically correct way. During setup, so I was at Spring Quilt Market, which is, the markets happen twice a year. There's one in the spring, there's one in the fall. It is the trade show for quilt stores and professional quilters. So all the quilt stores go out and professional quilters go out and they meet with the fabric makers, you can meet with designers, you can get, all sorts of things. Yeah, politics, right? And it's a great, I love it. I love going. So I went, and thank you very much. So, Persimmon is what I should say. Thank you very much, Persimmon, for the follow. I appreciate it. So, I went out there, and the market itself is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday is the day where you actually go and they call it the schoolhouse, where you actually have mini classes with all sorts of things. And so Wednesday is setup day. So Wednesday, setup day. I was helping a friend of mine set up his booth, and he keeps disappearing as I'm helping him set up his booth. And he comes running back and tells me that it was just discovered that there was a private Facebook group. Now, there's nothing wrong with private Facebook groups. Not at all. I have one. I actually have one for my Patreon, my Patreon people. And they give me input to when I'm going to stream and what I'm going to do and things like that. So, this is a private Facebook group of quilters. And they called themselves conservative quilters, which is fine. And there's actually a couple of groups out there of conservative quilters. Well, this particular group, see, and again, I'm trying to word it in ways that I'm being politically acceptable, and they, in their group, basically criticized other quilters. Not because they didn't like their work. They criticized them because they didn't approve of the way that they talked. I was looking at the dog. So they criticized them based on the way that they talked, the way they looked, their sexual preference, and who they associated with. And not only did they criticize and talked about it, but they talked about how and these are professionals, so these are people that own quilt businesses in the quilt world, or professional quilters. And they basically went to, their lifestyle choices. Yeah, that's another good, and they went to some of these companies, and they basically were trying to get the companies not to support these people that they were talking negatively about. The word snowflake was used a few times, which I don't like. And I actually wrote a generalized, politically correct way of just how I explained it on my blog last Wednesday. And I actually said, look, when I was at Quilt Market, this happened. And it seemed to have a cloud over all of Quilt Market. As I'm going around talking to things, my friends are just, they were trying to figure out who was involved. They got the names. Like, I have the names of everyone involved, and I'm not going to deal with them. I'm not going to talk about it because there's other, if you Google it, there's other companies and people out there that have talked about it and have the names and the companies. That's just my choice that I'm not going to support them, but I'm not going to put that out there. And so I talked about this on my blog last week. Yeah, I lost 10 followers on my Facebook page. So that's the only time in my entire quilting career, all 8 years that I have been a professional quilter and had the Facebook, that I've ever lost people. And I kind of laughed, and I'm like, you know what? If you're going to unfollow me because I put this out there that, hey, by the way, if you're not in the quilting community, you may not be aware that this is going on, and this is not something I support. If you're going to unfollow me for that, then you probably, A, wouldn't have bought my patterns, B, wouldn't have had me come out and teach, or do a trunk show, or any of that. So, yeah, whatever. I don't need them. So, yeah, so to answer your question, the long-winded answer, it was, Marley, it seemed like there was a cloud, and that's all people were talking about. It really just, it impacted the show in a lot of ways. And, yeah, I mean, I knew, of course, that in the quilting world, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are very resistant to change. And that's in life. You know, there's people out there that are resistant to change. So, it's, but I was a little discouraged whenever I first heard about it, because you know what, it's one thing to support someone or not support them personally, and you can, choose not to have a teacher come out. You can choose not to support a company. But whenever you start bashing on people and trying to affect their relationships with other companies and other quilters just because of how they look or their lifestyle choices, that's not okay. Hey, you're noisy today. You're super noisy today, you know that? You're super noisy today. Come here. Here, I'm gonna have to roll myself. You wanna say hi? You wanna say hi to the camera? He's doing his, oh my god, you're gonna kill me in my sleep. Don't hold me, look. I know. You're a good boy. Alright, leave the kitty cat alone. Alright, now where is my roller? Because I can't have dog hair on my fabric. There we go. And making sure I've got that right. Yep, okay. I always have to double check if I get sidetracked. But other than that, I had a fantastic market. It was wonderful. And yeah, see, and that's the thing too. It's funny because I say that I'm not going to do business with the women behind it. And I look through it, I'm like, you know what? I've never done business with them. I've never taken a class from any of them. I've never associated with them. So it didn't affect me in the way that I would have to make a change. Okay, everything's pieced. All right, you gotta move, Marley. I'm moving the chair. Time to sew. So it didn't affect me that I have to make the change. I'm just going, now that I'm aware of it, I will make sure that I will continue to not use their services or to support them. Alright, and this is that one there. There we go. So yeah, like I said, other than that, it was a great market. I actually, if you want to look at everything that I brought back, I did a stream on Monday with what I brought back from Spring Market. So I actually went through some of the new fabrics that are coming out, some of the new lines, some of the gadgets and gazmos I picked up. I picked a bunch of stuff up. Like, okay, look at this. This is a wireless portable daylight lamp. How awesome is that? And it charges via USB. So yeah, that's just amazing. So that's one of the things that I talked about. I got a whole bunch of thread from a bunch of different companies. I talked about, I'm getting a Sizzix system to cut all my strips. I'm excited about that. And I know, right? Isn't that cool? I freaking love that thing. And I got picked up by a pattern maker. So, because right now all of my patterns, you can only get a physical pattern. Oh, you don't want to look at Mondays then. Yeah, no, I agree, Iron Bands Graham, and that's what I mean too about don't support them, if that's your decision. Marley, you're in my way. Don't sit on my pedal. So yeah, so Persimmon, if you don't want to drool over thread, don't watch Monday's stream. Because I showed a lot of the thread. What was I saying? So the thread. Oh, and then the pattern maker. Right now you can only get my physical patterns if you see me at a convention or if you go to a quilt store that carries my patterns. Starting sometime either the end of this week or beginning of next week, you can get my patterns online, the physical ones as well. Right now, you can only get the digital PDF downloads for my patterns. So if you go to my Etsy store or if you go to my Craftsy store, you can immediately download my patterns. But some people want the nice, pretty booklet. They don't want the download. So now I have a pattern maker that has, oh yeah, so you would want the digital download then. So, or if there is a quilt store or sewing store near you, then they can now order the physical ones. So I don't ship around the world. I only ship to North America. But because I've been picked up by the pattern manufacturer, if any quilt stores or sewing stores across the world want to carry the nice pretty booklets, then they can now go to this company and buy them. So super excited about that. So that also happened because of Market. And of course all the yummy fabrics and... Oh, where is my... It's up there. Okay. I'm going to deviate because I have to show this to you guys. My new favorite designer. Well, other than Tamarini, because, you know, I love her so much and I made the secret quilt for her. So, other than Tamarini, my new favorite designer is Felice, who designs for Wyndham. She has... You're going to love this Iron Bands girl. It's okay. So, she has a line of fabrics now that are cat inspired. Alright, so I'm going to show you on this one right here. So, these are, like, isn't that cute? And kitty cats. Okay, so, but this is why I love her so much. So she's got this one. So, these designs, those are cat scratches. Because cats scratch you. Isn't that cute? And then this one, that pattern, she calls litter glitter. It's cat litter. Now, here's the best one. Now, look very closely at this one. Yeah, that's a cat's butthole. Isn't that amazing? So, a cat butthole inspired her to make that design for the fabric. Yeah, I love her. So, yeah. When we turn the corner, so I brought my friend Susan with me, and we're going up and down it was the first or the second day, so we're going up and down, and Susan said whenever we turned the corner, and she saw Felice, oh, the butthole. Oh, because you're looking really close. So when we turn down the aisle and we're in the Wyndham section, we're looking at all the fabrics and the designers, Felice has bright purple hair. And I didn't even see her fabric or her line yet, and of course we saw her first. So Susan told me that night, she goes, yeah, when we turned down that aisle and I saw the purple hair, I knew that you would love her and that you would just love whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I love her. So yeah, I had a good time at market. See, and I honestly don't know if anyone that was involved in that the secret group was even at market. I'm still laughing that you had your nose up to the camera and I put that fabric up there for the cat butthole. That's what cats... Oh, you know what? That's perfect, because that's what cats do to you. They put their butt right in your face. My cat did it to me earlier. I was getting set up for my stream, and she jumped up on my table and shoved her butt in my face. I'm like, really? Where is... I'm going to see if I can find her. I have all of my little guides over here. I'm going to see if I can find her guide that talks... Oops. Oh, man. I hit the camera. Is it still okay? No. All right. There we go. Is that straight? Yes. Okay. All right. Spirit. Maywood. Where is it? Oh, I put it separately, didn't I? I put it down there because I want to keep it. Okay. It didn't click straight away until too late. Oh. Oh, that's funny. Oh, you said to look at it and it didn't click. You're like staring at it. You're like, oh, hey, I'm staring at a cat's butthole. All right, let me look. I think it's all here. Ugh. Guterman. There's the So Steady stuff. My Sizzix stuff. That stuff. Oh, here she is. See? I knew I'd find it. Okay, so this is the line that I was just showing you for Felice. So her line is Cat Tatterday. And look what she did for the examples. So she actually cut out some of those faces and turned them into like little catnip things. See, and these are some of the quilts. So if you look at the stream on Monday, you'll actually see I took pictures of some of these quilts too. Alright, so this is why I wanted to pull it out, because I wanted to read you her description of what inspired her. Okay. Cat Tatterday began as a group of kitty-faced pencil sketches one lazy evening. It wasn't until months later that these doodles inspired me to create an entire collection. The kitty faces became the Cat-Tattitude print, which features some of my favorite cat breeds. My own cats, Batman and Chi, make cameo appearances as the Bombay and American Shorthair. And... oh, there we go. Cat Tatterday is Felice's second fabric collection for Wyndham Fabrics. Inspired by her two cats, Cat Tatterday focuses on those moments that make you go, I love my cats, but they're kind of jerks. It's not always yarn balls and cuddles. It's dirty litter, waking up to a cat butt in your face, and shredded couches. And yet we adore our fur babies. See, isn't that... oh, yeah, I love that. So I just had to share that one. Yeah, isn't that cool? I love her. So as we were talking through market, we decided we're best friends now. Because I was telling her what I do, because she was curious as we're chatting, and she's like, you'd get me. You totally get, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So, and she told me what her next line's going to be, and I'm just like, I love you even more. I can't tell you yet, because, you know, those things are secret until market. But, yeah, I can't wait to see her next line at Fall Market. to piecing my Loki inspired quilt. So for traveling in the stream, I'm going to stream Friday. I'm going to finish this up, so I'm going to put the rows together and add on the borders for this. And then if I have time, I'll work on something else. And then I'm thinking I'm going to stream Sunday. I can't stream Saturday because it is the reunion for the rescue group that I got Alfred at. So we got to take Alfred and go to the picnic and do all that stuff, so that'll be fun. But I'm thinking I'm going to stream on Sunday. And then next week, I'm going to stream as much as I can, because I leave the following Monday to go back down to DC. Because I have AwesomeCon on Father's Day weekend, which is a convention in DC. And then I have Too Many Games, which is a video game convention in Oaks, Pennsylvania, the following weekend. So I'll be gone for 2 weekends, and then back home for a whole month and a half of streaming before Gen Con. And I have got a ton of commissions and everything I've got to work on to get them finished. Come on. My fingers all of a sudden decided that they don't want to work anymore. That's what I get for going away for 3 weeks and not piecing any quilts in that amount of time. Although, when I am down for this next trip, I am going to do a stream when I am in Maryland on pinning quilts, on pinning the backing and the batting and the tops together, on how I do it. I didn't do it this past time like I wanted to because I forgot the backings. I had batting, I just didn't have any backings with me. I'm like, how? Yeah, can't believe I did that. But this time, so that way I'm not going to go a whole 2 weeks without a stream. I don't like doing that. Oh, there we go. I was too busy talking. I forgot to trim it. Okay, so let's figure this out. Okay, here's a background. So the one on the end, it's got the blue, which is there. So this side, I've got this. This should be the end, because the next one is this one here. Yes, that's right. So this one, see, this is how I fix them. Oh, that's right, there's that one. Okay, so it goes that way. There, 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 there. Yes, okay. Got it right here. There we go. And it goes that way. See, and I don't just make simple mistakes like that just because I'm talking. I do that all the time. Even when I'm piecing and watching TV. There we go. Okay, time for ironing. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. I like having even numbers. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this one goes... Dang it, I hate that. I couldn't find my second... my second thing. Talking to myself again. I need another sheet of paper. I found my one, I couldn't find my other. Small little sheet. Alright, I'll have to make one up. Okay, let's use this. Let's use the instructions for my, my daylight, my brain's not working. My applique thing. Light box, that's the word. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is why I do 2 different ones, so I can only see the 6 that I'm working on. Okay, so this one goes to the right. Okay, so seams to the right. There we go. And now I can pin them. Oops, it wasn't centered. There we go, now it's centered. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do for my stream. Oh, you know what? I should do Sunday. Because I want to get this, I want to get Loki completely finished so I can have him for display, even though the pattern won't be ready until August. I want to have him available at AwesomeCon and Too Many Games in case someone would like to purchase the actual quilt. So, I'm thinking Sunday I will have him pinned, and I will do a complete start to finish of quilting it and binding it, so you can see how I finish it off. So I'll do that on Sunday, and then if I have time, I can work on the t-shirt quilts, because I still have a ton of t-shirt quilts. After I get all those done, when I was at Tidewater Comic-Con a few weeks ago, I took a commission for a weighted blanket, a weighted quilt, for a kid with autism. So I, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, odd number. So I will make sure that I do that entire thing start to finish while I'm streaming, so you can see how they're made. It's funny because I actually heard about the weighted blankets a few weeks prior and the benefits for autistic people, especially autistic children. So I actually looked into it and I said, you know what? Could I do a weighted quilt? So I actually did all my research and I figured it out of what I would do and how I would do it. I even worked up all the costs of what it would be to collect everything. And I'm like, you know what? I think I could do this. And sure enough, when I was at Virginia Comic-Con, or Tidewater Comic-Con, I had a lady come up to me and she was looking at the panel quilts and she said, could you do a weighted blanket? I said, I could make a weighted quilt. Yes, I can. In fact, I have already researched of how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do, and so I gave her the price of how much additional it would be to add the beads to it, and she said sure, and she paid it in full. So now I have an excuse to make one. For the weighted blankets, the technical term is weighted blanket, even though it's with a quilt. Those, because of the nature of them, I will never have them available for sale. I will only have them available as a commission only, because they're very personal for what it is and how it is. So because of that, they would need to pick out exactly what they would want and how they would want it. So it's not something that I could just then make and sell, because I would have to add a whole new line of it. Three, four, five, six, seven, and I got another odd one. So this one's going to the right. How many more rows do I have after these 6? Oh, I have 3 more rows. Fantastic. My goal for tonight's stream was to at least get through these 6 rows. If I get through all of them, fantastic. Whatever I don't get through for piecing of the rows, I will finish off camera. And then Friday's stream, I will pick up by assembling all the rows together. Making sure I didn't do... Okay, 1, 2 to the left. Okay, for some reason I thought I put the last one on here. Okay. See, and this is why I double check everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be 7. Now the piece that's going to be first is actually it's a lot smaller than that piece that hasn't been sewn to anything yet. But for consistency, I need to take the first piece off. Because if I mix up first and last of what I'm taking off, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, I will get confused. So this piece has got to come off, even though it's smaller than that piece. Or else I'm going to confuse myself. And, oh, thank you very much for the follow, Dark Chaos. I appreciate it. I love my little... Did you see all my little hearts that pop up underneath the Quiltoni? Sorry, I'm tickled by that. The graphic designer that I went with, like, totally understood everything that I wanted. I was super happy when he did that. I'm like, oh, hearts! Yay! Alright. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you know what? I'm getting low on water. Let me add some. You know what I should do on Friday, if I haven't done it by then, after I finish this quilt, is hand sew my labels onto the quilts that I have finished. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one's to the right. See, now I'm sitting here thinking, going, what could I make with all that cat fabric? So I want to do something with it. I bought 2 stacks of it. That way, whatever I make, I can actually donate to one of the animal rescues that we support. Because they do a lot of like fundraisers type things, like auctions and all sorts of things. So I also bought some dog fabric, but that's coming in the mail. I didn't buy it actually there. I ordered some. So I'm going to make a couple of quilts that I could donate. I really like that fishbone one that she had hanging up. Yeah, see, and of course I'll stream it. I've got on this wall over there, I have all, you can't see my fabrics anymore. Oh well. I've got 1, 2, 3, I need to get another one. I have 6 bookcases of fabric right now, and I've run out of space. I need to get another one. But that bookcase over there, I've got all of my specialty fabrics, so like the Halloween, the fall, the dogs, paw prints, things like that. The last one. 1, 2. Now I don't want to confuse myself because this is the last one for up here. So I'm going to iron this and pin this right away. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fantastic. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the seams go to the left. Maybe I'll design something new. Yeah. Oh, I am super excited. So Tamarini sent me the fabric that she's got for the next line for Island Batik. She sent me all the pictures of the fabrics, and I'm just like... So I got a little hand slap this time because I designed a double-sided quilt using her fabric line and all sorts of things. And I just did it to display her fabrics and to talk about it because the Island Batik, the Batiks Go Retro line was so cool, and I really wanted to do something for it. Yeah, so I didn't do anything else. I didn't design the pattern to sell. I didn't promote anything with myself. I didn't do any of that. So she said, if I do something for the next line, make sure that if I design a special pattern to use it or things like that, that I make sure that I pattern it and I have it available for sale. And then I said, okay. And I looked at the fabric and I went, because there was one of the designs that I'm just like, I could totally turn that into a geeky design. I know exactly what I'm going to do with it this time. So, yeah, totally cannot wait to work on that secret project.
You let him out? You let him out.
I like secret projects too. That's another thing I showed on Monday's stream. I showed the secret project that I made for the Island Boutique booth for Spring Market. And then on my social media, I actually did a whole video showing the booth and my quilt and the double-sided, and yeah. Whenever I talk to Tamarini, she said, well, how did you do the double-sided? And I'm like, and I'm the kind of person where I'm mostly self-taught for everything. So no one ever told me that you can't do something. So I just kind of did it. And I'm like, well, what do you mean double-sided? She goes, well, it's the same exact design, same exact everything on both sides. And I'm like, it was easy. And I told her exactly how I did it. And she says, I didn't even think of that. I'm like, yeah. Because I do double-sided quilts all the time. I have people that commission me because they have they've got a kid coming, or they have a kid and they can't decide between two different quilts. So they want both. So they'll have one character on one side, another character on the other side. I've done Mario Luigi and Mario Peach a lot. Like one side Mario, one side Peach, vice versa. It's especially, I do double-sided whenever someone is expecting a kid and they don't know the gender. And they don't want to kind of peg the gender into a certain thing. Like they don't want to be, they don't want to be forced to choose between Link and Zelda. So, one side Link, one side Zelda. Getting ahead of myself. Three. Come on, there we go. Fabric did not want to cooperate this time. Yes. Oh! So the Secret Eyes, yes, I do commissions all the time. If you go to my website, thequiltoni.com, and actually under commissions, you can see the gallery of lots of commissions that I've done. Iron Bands grant. I got so much fabric. That reminds me, I've got to put a picture up of all the fabric I got. I got 2 rolls of the 80/20. I got a roll of the 80/20 pink. I can actually see it right there, I got the fusible, and I got the fire resistant. So I got the 3 big huge bolts of the 80/20s, and then I got the smaller baby bolts of the fire resistant and the fusible. So I'm thinking for the next secret project, I'm going to try the fusible out. I can't wait. So yay. And also, Secret Eyes, whenever I do commissions, I like to do them all here on Twitch as well. So when someone commissions something from me, they can actually watch me make it. And I've got issues. Alright, trim that, trim that. I have issues with my bobbin, so let's take a look and see what the problem is. Oh, just a little dirty. Get my brush. It got caught a little bit in there because it is just a little dirty. Let's make sure. Okay, everything's good. Oh, so the one time, so Persimmon, with speaking of Link and Zelda, I whenever I first started doing this, so I think it was 6 years ago, maybe. I got a commission from a couple that were expecting twin girls, and of course, huge nerds, people after my own heart, and the one parent, I can't remember which one was which. One of the parents was a huge Mario freak. The other parent was a huge Zelda freak. So they couldn't decide. Oh, that's a great idea. Getting the panels printed at Spoonflower. Oh yeah, and of course I do most of my thread now from Superior. That is a great idea. Because it holds it still. That's why I'm going to use it for the secret project. That's awesome. Okay, so back to the story. So they couldn't decide between Mario and Zelda, or Mario and Link, for the baby's room. So half of the room was designed in Mario theme, the other half in a Link theme. So they actually had like the bed, and they had the for the Mario side they actually had the I can't think of it. The pipes. They had pipes, and they had the blocks, and they had. It looked like it was a level in Mario, and then on the Link side, they actually used the Link to the Past, and they actually had the map on there, and they had painted it, and it was so super cool. So they were having twin girls. So they decided for the quilts, they wanted me to do 2 quilts, the one of Baby Zelda, and the other Baby Peach. I loved it. The pictures are actually on my website for the under the commissions, and it was so much fun. It was the first time that I actually did original designs, and I didn't take a design directly from a game or from a sprite from someplace else. I actually worked up original stuff. So it was I was super excited about that. It turned out really, really well, and they were super happy too. Okay, just making sure it's not. No, okay. It didn't feel right for some reason when I was trimming that, so I was just making sure that it was fine. I'm just making sure, yep. I was just looking at the tension for the bobbin tension, making sure it was still fine. It is. And the quilters' dream people were awesome. So I popped in there, and I picked everything up, and they kind of looked at me because when I called, they're like, "You want to come by the warehouse?" I'm like, "I know you don't have a storefront or anything, but it'll save me money on shipping since I'm like it was literally like 5 miles down the road from where the convention was." So yeah. So it's and then of course I got to meet the lady that runs everything there, and she was at Spring Market, so I stopped by and I chatted for a few minutes. And it was nice because then I got to actually see, because their actual booth at Spring Market was really cool. It had huge long strips of the batting. So you actually got to really feel it and touch it, and not just like the little samples. Okay, so this is to the right. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing with that fusible batting. Alright, now this row, I am ironing 4 pieces, and there's 1 down. So it's 5 pieces total. So that tells me I'm going to have to set 1 aside. Now, the last run through the last pass, I put the first piece. So because of that, let's see, seams to the left. And this goes on top. So because of that, I'm going to put actually the last piece as the one I'm leaving out for this one. I think there are dogs walking by the house. And my dogs are barking at them. Three. You know, I just realized the project I did for the Boutiques Go Retro, 1, 2, 3, I wasn't going to pull it out because I couldn't remember where I put it. I put it right there. So after I finish this pass, I'll pull it out and show you. Even though I showed you on Monday as well, but I'll still show you again. Four. This one goes to the right. Okay, and let me free the last one. You know how when you see a word over and over, sometimes it doesn't make sense anymore? I keep looking at... Oh, I did spell it wrong. Dang it. Alright. I'm like, something doesn't look right with my title. Why didn't anyone tell me I was missing an E? New pattern. There we go. All right. It's good now. Okay, so, I've got to finish this one. I kept glancing over there the entire 2-3 hours. How long has it been? 2 hours, yeah, 2 hours and 48 minutes. I keep glancing over there going, something doesn't quite look right. And I'm like, no, maybe I'll just chalk it up to I keep looking at it, it doesn't look right. No, I actually did spell it wrong. Three, four, and this goes to the left. Oops. Left, yep. Alright, so secret quilt. This is the quilt that I made for Tamarini for the Boutiques Go Retro. If you look in the border, you can see the design. So what I did is I took the design that's actually on the batik and I pixelated it. So I just took it and I pixelated it, popped it out, and I picked two complementary fabrics with that design that were in her line, and I showcased how well they look together using the design. And then double-sided, oh hey, there's thread on there. There you go, now you can see it now nicely without any of the thread on there. Double-sided, here's the bold ones. So using the same exact design, but using two different fabrics. Yeah, because I just wanted to showcase how you can take the same design and show different things. And as you can see, if you look in the border, it's the same exact pattern that's on that batik. So this was my, and that's from a distance, that was my secret quilt that I did for Boutiques Go Retro. So can't wait to work on the next line. I love, 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 love these fabrics and the fabrics that she's coming out with for the next line. Thank you very much. Three. Hello, Soleil. I don't have anything for you, baby girl. I figured for this pass, I would go ahead and get this one done first. Oops. Hold on. I've done something wrong. Oh no. No, I haven't. It goes this way. I had them backwards. I almost scared myself thinking that I did something wrong. See, I have a theory. If I have my seam ripper ready to go, then I won't make a mistake. Oh, there's no point in doing that first one because I've got to sew it with that one. Trying to save myself time, and I did it. Fingers are not working again. Almost done. All right. That first one's done. Now, when I get this far, again, I'm going to sew them together 2 at a time. Okay, and in this case to the left, because that's more efficient, because I'm going to actually pin those 2 rows together. There we go. Okay, so that's going to go on top. So here's the first 2 rows. One, two, three. So it's to the right. Let's make sure that's right. Yes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. Let's make sure I've got them in the right order. Because this is another thing. At this point, sometimes I will mix up the 2 or 3 pieces of fabric and sew them in the wrong order. Okay, got that. And again, whenever I lay my strips on the ironing board, I'm making sure that my seams are pointing down. Okay. Okay, these are going to go to the... Uh-oh. I did something wrong. Okay. That's correct. This is not. Damn it. No, it's right. Oh my god. I scared myself again. Okay, so normally the background pieces are on the left and the right. So if you look at the design, this is his eyes right here. So if you look at the design on the left-hand side, you can see where the green eyes are. Look directly to the left of that. You see there's a background piece between his head and the staff. And then all the way on the left, remember that strip on the left-hand side is the border. So I'm putting that on last. Well, there's no background here. So here I'm thinking that I sewed this wrong because there's no background here and there's background there. No, I didn't do it wrong. It's right. All right, so I'm just going to double check to make... Yeah, no, it's right. Oh my god. Here I am, scaring myself again. I'm just glad that I double checked it all and didn't start seam ripping it. There we go. Okay. So let's sew these 2 and free the last row. No, it's a double. And this one has 3 pieces, so I want to make sure that I flip it over to sew the other side. Okay. Alright, last row. Seam to the left. Okay. Now we get to start assembling the rows. Okay. Again, I'm looking to see the best way to iron it, because I want my seams to point down. So as I iron it up, the seams are going up. Alright, so I'm going to move this down, so I'm only looking at the 2 rows that I have. Okay, this one is the top one, so seams to the left. This one should be seams to the right. Alright, let's make sure that all the pieces are correct. And again, I am pointing at the pattern and each piece on here just to make sure that I have sewn them all correctly. Perfect. Alright, so let's flip it up and pin it. When I pin my rows, I am finding the seams, make sure they're nice and nested, and then pin it. And then go back and pin the ones that don't have the seams lining up. Every time I have a seam, I make sure there's a pin in it to hold it down. Because again, whenever you sew it, you don't want your sewing machine to flip those seams up. Come on. No, that's not right. Alright, I'm going to have to work backwards on this one because it looks like I didn't sew something perfectly. So I'm going to have to finagle it to make sure that the seams line up. So in this case, because you see the top's got a little bit more loose to it, a little bit more fabric give to it than the bottom. So I'm going to work backwards. Because I know the right side is going to line up. Until I figure out where my problem is. Here. Here's my problem. Okay. That looks like my problem's right there. Okay, now you can see how, I'll do it this way so you can see it better. So with my problem that I've got is apparently I sewed these two seams tighter than what this piece is. So you see how this is loose right here. So how I fix that is I've got both sides pinned. I've got everything pinned to here. I've got everything pinned to here. So I'm just going to stretch the fabric and I'm going to pin it on the opposite side. So I've stretched it and I'm taking my fingers and I'm holding it here. And then I'm putting pins in on the opposite side. I'm going to put an extra pin in the center. And there we go. Now, you see it's got a little bit of a bump here. But then as I'm sewing it, when I put it into the sewing machine, I'm going to be stretching it the whole time. So you won't even notice it. It'll be fine. It happens all the time. Alright. So you don't have to sew perfect seams in order to get them to line up perfectly. I know it's 8 o'clock, and that's, I said as long as I was going to stream tonight, but I'm going to get these last few rows done. And then after I get these last few rows done, then I'll call it a night. Alright, so this one looks like it's the top one, so it needs to go to the left. So that means this one's the bottom one, it needs to go to the right. Oops, come on, pin. There you go. Left, right. Okay. Okay, I'm totally gonna jinx myself. Because I'm gonna say it. Yeah, so far, I haven't had to use my seam ripper. This is the first time I have done a new quilt pattern design on Twitch that I have not flipped a piece. Now, because I've said that, you know what's going to happen. Either in the last 2 rows today, or in the last 3 rows, I'm going to flip something. Because I'm always flipping them, so especially when I'm streaming, I pay extra special attention to what I'm doing. You know, now's probably a good time to mention the 3-foot roll again. So, 3-foot roll. If you ever make a mistake in your quilting, stand back 3 feet. If you can't see it, no one's ever going to see it. And not unless you point it out. Okay, so I need to free my last row, so I'm going to grab one of my rows I've already pinned together. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is rows 5 and 6. And next week, I am going to try to start streaming at least one day during the day. I haven't decided which day yet. Probably depends upon my schedule. It won't be the same every single week. Alright, this one is the top one, so it goes to the left. This is the... And this one is the one I thought I messed up. Goes to the right. So you can see, if you look at the picture on the left-hand side, you can see his eyes and you can see the blue staff. So you can see exactly where I am in making the pattern. Alright, let's double check this one. There, there, there. When you see me move my finger up and down, I'm making sure that I have the piece positioned the correct way. Perfect. Fantastic. Glad I did not jinx myself that fast. Alright, and that is the last row for pinning. So that means I'm done for the night. The last 3 rows, so the rows that you see above the staff, not counting that one blue line at the top, I will do those 3 rows either tomorrow or Friday off camera. I'll make sure that because I like to work a little bit, so I'll get those done. And then Friday, I'm going to stream at, oh wow, it's 1:07. Thank you. And I'm glad you joined in, Persimmon. Thank you very much. So then Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will pick it back up with sewing all these rows together and then the border around it. I'll also show you the Catan quilt that I'm working on and some other small little things. So that's it for tonight. I will see you guys on Friday. So thanks again for popping in, and thank you very much for all of the follows. I appreciate it. Love you guys very much. See you Friday. Oh.